Welcome to the Mountain Valley News Pigskin Preview. I'm Monk Blevin, this is Logan Wright, and we're back with you this week for the championship game. You know, Logan, we've got 5 playing in the championship, and I don't think any of us are all that surprised about this. So
no, as soon as we started this season out with this show, we always said we expected nothing less. This 5 team did a very, very deep playoff run. And I think everyone really expected them to make it back to the state championship, and they did it.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. We've got Coach Paul Benefield on the phone with us today. Coach, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine, man. Y'all
doing great. Well, congratulations on the big win.
Wasn't you? I didn't. I was one of the ones that didn't expect anything.
I tell you what,
y'all survive one game at a time.
Hey, sometimes surprises are good, Coach.
Yeah. Well, congratulations on the big win Friday night, and man, I know that was a tough ball game, and and I know y'all are excited to be headed to Tuscaloosa this week to play in the championship game. So, again, congratulations, Coach, and tell us a little bit about Friday night. About who was a standout for you, and that.
Well, it didn't get off to a good start. There's so many athletes out there, just like there will be this week. And they run the kickoff backs, but you got to give our kids some credit for things getting started bad and staying with a plan. And once we got settled down a little bit and seen that we could play with them, then it just seems like everything just kind of fell our way. At the end of the first half, we got a score extra and then to give us a little cushion there, and we needed it in the second half.
That was a big score.
We felt like we was wearing them down at the end of the first half, and I thought we could in the second half, but we just never could. When you're 13-0, you're 13-0 for a reason, and
right.
There wasn't any quitters on that side of the line either. So those guys came back after halftime angry, and they had a good drive, and then just we had a big pick. Interception there that might have saved the game for us, and then our offense run the clock out. So
yeah,
that's a total team thing, like it always is for us.
Oh yeah. Well, I tell you what, one thing we say about you guys, y'all been in some tough ball games, during the playoffs, and they've been nail biters. But one of the things that you was talking about the interception, and you had a freshman back, Peyton Anderson, stepped up and made a huge play there for you, and. And that's, I'm sure he was excited. That's big having have a freshman to be able to step in and play like he plays. So,
well, we're really proud for him. He's had a tough time and had just young and kind of inconsistent with his play, but he's growing up now, and he'll be a good one someday.
We ask you this each week, but who was some of the players that stood out for you in the game last week, Coach?
Well, of course, Kilpatrick, Dylan Kilpatrick. He had, I think he had his normal 25 carries and 185 yards and a touchdown. And Seth Benefield had 60 yards on 10 carries, so we threw one pass. I don't know how many other teams in the semifinals threw one pass, but I bet you wouldn't find many.
Yeah, that's probably right.
That's just us, and we pride ourselves on playing good defense. And
hey, when you have a rushing offense like yours, you don't really have to throw the ball, Coach.
Well, I know, but it sure is pretty for the fans. We did throw a pretty pass. We just overthrew it a little bit, but it was exciting just to watch it go through the air. I know our fans some of our fans might have fell out of their chair on that one pass.
I guess I'm a little bit old school. I still like to see good defense and a team that can run the football, Coach. And y'all do both of those real well. So
I'll tell you what I like. I like no turnovers. So that's what I like.
Oh, absolutely.
I always heard from a small child that when you throw it, there's 2 things bad happen and 1 good.
Yeah.
It's either incomplete or the other guy catches it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So
we have every year. I think this year probably in the neighborhood of 8 turnovers for the season, which is more than we had last year. I think last year we had 5 for the entire season. So
yeah,
when you can run the ball and you don't beat yourself and you play field position, of course, kicking game's huge when you play field position.
Yeah. You know,
And it's,
Kyle Collins, he stepped up and I guess it was about a 90-yard kick return for you. I know that was a big play going in before half, and
yes, it was huge. That kind of nullified their return and kind of canceled that out. So yes, I forgot about that. I'm glad you mentioned that. Kyle returned, I think, 2 last year for touchdowns. We just hadn't been executing much on returns this year, and we finally got one we needed it the most.
Mm-hmm.
And your defense, I tell you, and we talked a lot about this. I think all the way through the season, your defense has really played well all season. And so, talk to us a little bit about the defense. I tell you, I've been very impressed with your defense this year.
Well, we had, I think we had 7 quarterback sacks last week. That was big.
Yeah.
Silas Hicks had 2 or 3 the first half, and Ethan Jones had 2. And I don't know, Ryan Martin had a really big game. I think he was up around 15 tackles for the game. And,
wow.
of course, our old steadies are always Ethan Jones and Cole Hush, and they've been steady all year. And Kyle Collins just took our little young guys in the secondary, and he's got them all lined up right. Been a great leader. Tyler Ashley's steady, and Garrett Butts is just kind of a guy that don't get talked about a lot, but he. Him and Ethan Jones have the same number of tackles this year. So, that's just somebody there that you always got 1 or 2 like that don't get a lot of recognition, but he has played really well for us too. And, Silas had appendicitis the first 5 games, and he's just now getting full speed. So there's 3, and then Seth Owens has played real well. He had a torn pec muscle, and he's back after the 5th game. So we played our first half of the season without 4 starters. So I'm really proud of our kids for battling and hanging in there. And then I'll have to brag on Seth a little bit for he's improved. Just we don't expect him to try to win the game for us, just manage the game, and he's a pretty good little runner.
He has stepped in and done a fantastic job. I tell you what, being the coach's son, I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on him, but he's stepped up and has played well, and I know you're very proud of him. So
yeah, I am. As a coach and a daddy.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Well, talk to us a little bit. I know. We were talking about this morning, Coach, and this is, I guess, is this your 3rd time to go into the state finals?
It is. It is. We lost in 2007 to Leroy, and then the last 2 years.
Yeah, and then of course you were at Plainview as assistant coach and played twice, and
that's right. 2 more right there. So
yeah. So you've had a great run. Well, I know you're excited about this week and getting to just to be able to have a chance to win back to back, and it's kind of odd, I guess. It's kind of a rematch of last year, and I'm sure Elba is excited about getting to play you guys again. So talk to us a little bit about Elba. What do they bring to the table? And
well, they got 9 starters coming back on both sides of the ball. That's one thing. We didn't. Or I didn't. I wasn't looking ahead any. I was looking week by week. But when you do get to the finals, when you look up at somebody that's been there before, you're hoping it's some team maybe that would be a little jittery and nervous when they got there. But this won't be the case, for them at all. I'm sure they've been looking for this rematch. I'm sure they've been pointing their fingers at us for a while too, even though they're a long way away from us. But we hadn't been looking at it that way. Somebody asked me if we've been looking for that rematch, and that's the furthest thing from my mind.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's going to be a tough game. Our kids, we're so blessed to be where we are, and we want to win the game, but by no means will they be any losers out there either way. And
absolutely.
Real special senior class. And just think about where all they've been, what they've done. 40 games and 3 losses, and at the end of the day, we want to win bad as anybody, of course, but I'm not going to be disappointed.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I tell you what, it's just exciting when a team can make it this far, and to do it back to back. That says a lot about your football team and about you as a coach. And I tell you what, we're proud of you guys, and excited about the opportunity you have to win. To win back to back, and I. Going in, I know Elba comes in, and I think the Rigby guy, the quarterback, is back this year. I know he was a pretty good ball player last year. So, what's your thoughts on him, Coach? And
he's strong. He extends the plays. He can't get him on the ground. He got tons of talent around him. Speed. 3 or 4 wide receivers are really good running back, and they're just good everywhere. And it's been like last 3 or 4 weeks for us. We've got to try to limit their possessions and eat block of it.
Hey, Coach, while we're talking about Elba, just give us a little bit of depth about what type of offense do they run and how they've done throughout the season.
Well, I'm sure they're in the top 5 in scoring in 2A at least. If not, I'm sure over 40 points a game. They'll go from 5 wideouts to under center double wing, and just in the same drive. And that's the same thing we saw last year. We're seeing again this year, and of course they're seeing the same thing on film as they saw on us. But, they'll get in too tight double wing, and then all of a sudden they're spread out everywhere. So your kids really got to be watching what's going on and try to get lined up right. That's just a real key thing to them is can we get lined up right and whether we got a chance to tackle all those guys are so fast, I don't know, but and it's the same old story every week for us. We got to have a lot of people to the ball, and just hope. Last year we blocked the punt, and it helped us. Kickoff's a dangerous situation. Just like last week, they got probably more speed than that boy did.
yeah,
And a punt, any situation like that where you feel spread out, kickoffs is dangerous. And punts too. So, I'm just proud of our guys for everything that happened. A lot of people would have come in after winning a state championship with lesser character about them and not wanting to went back to work.
right,
It's hard. You win a state championship in December and you want to celebrate for 6 months and you turn around and hey, it's time to play again. These guys weren't like that, and of course I'm not going to let them be like that. But but still, they fell right in and started working again, and then you have you lose your quarterback the first game and another starting linebacker, and it's been real easy, to say, well, we're 8-2, we're pretty good, had a pretty good season, but that hadn't been enough for them.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I had really off to them.
Well, and again, I think that just shows the character of your team and as you as a coach, and again, I think we're
And parents too.
and parents, absolutely.
They promote a lot of character and unselfishness, trying to buy into what I want our kids to be, and whether they like it sometimes or not. It's hard to be unselfish in today's world. Just every parent wants their kid to be the hero, and that's not the way it is in a real team, and in the real world, it's not either.
Right.
If our kids have really bought into being unselfish.
Well, while we're talking about parents, I was at the game Friday, and I have to say, the atmosphere at Fife during a ball game is crazy. I mean, it seems like everybody's zoned in and everybody's completely buying into the game. And I think everybody, just as a town and as a community, wants to win and wants your team to do well. Talk to us a little bit about your fan base and just the people that come out and watch y'all from week to week.
Oh man, they're awesome. It's just like you said, they're really behind us. I felt like our crowds this year may have been a little thin and at times, but then I thought, well, our stadium's bigger, maybe that's what it is. But our gate receipts hadn't been as good, so I know that's was something you didn't expect. But the weather's been bad this year, but they really turned it on. The fans have the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I know everybody in Fife will be there Friday, and they're like everybody, they want to win every game, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
We try to win all the ones we're capable of winning, and at the end of the day, give it all you got, and the other guy's better than you are, then you can walk off whistling. But if you don't give it all you got regrets your whole life. And I know these group of guys are not going. They're not going to be like that.
Yeah. Well, Coach, I tell you what, again, we're excited and about you being able, and I know all of DeKalb County is pulling for you this week, and I was talking to some people here in Rainsville, and of course, we're rivals during sometimes with the Plainview and the Fifes and
you better be careful of that all.
Well, maybe not all. Okay, but I think
it'd be hard pressed to get an all for anything. Man.
Well, that's probably true, but I think a big portion of DeKalb County is pulling for you guys this week, and
yes,
I know we all are. And again, congratulations on getting this far. And I tell you what, I don't like to make predictions, but I feel good about this week, Coach. I feel good. You've been there, and most of your kids have been there, and of course I know Elba's been there, and most of their kids have been there too. But well, there's one thing about it. You've made it this far, and you've got a chance. So that's
right. You hadn't got a chance if you're not in it.
That's exactly right. So again, congratulations, and I know you're busy, and we appreciate you giving us an opportunity to talk to you a little bit, and hopefully we'll get to see you next week, and you'll be holding that trophy up. So.
Well, I appreciate y'all having me on. I know our kids will represent our county well. Win or lose, they'll be good winners or they'll be good losers either way.
Absolutely. Well, y'all have a great trip down, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
All right. Talk to you later, Coach. All right, guys. Well, I tell you what, Logan. We talked about this. I think at the beginning of the season, like you said earlier in the beginning of the show. When we started talking about this, and we felt like Fife was going to make a big run, and here we are.
They made it. They made it all the way
there. They've made it where we felt like they would make it. So what's your thoughts on this Fife team as they're going in and traveling down to Tuscaloosa this week and in a rematch with Elba? And of course Elba would not like nothing more than to be able to beat Fife this year and say, hey, look, that was a fluke last year.
I've always heard it said that the champ is never the one that wants the rematch.
Right.
But I don't think that's the case right here. And the reason I think Fife will be successful this week, I've talked about it week in and week out, is their consistency. And I know I always talk about their offense and how their offense just pounds it in the middle, and then once you miss that one tackle, Fife's going for 80 yards. But I think that really shows in their defense too, because they all swarm to the ball and nobody's standing around. Everybody wants to get in on the tackle, and they don't have many broken tackles. I know Benefield talked to us about it last week. They don't have very many broken tackles, and that's what led them to this point. And for them to be successful in this state championship game, they're going to have to wrap up and make the tackle on the first hit.
Yeah. Looking down at Elba's schedule, they're 13-1. They lost to Opp late in the season, but I was looking at their playoff record and their playoff games, and they had a couple of blowouts where I think with Fife, if we look at Fife, I tell you what, other than maybe that first ball game, Fife has had to battle every ball game. So I think. If this game gets into a situation where it comes down to the last drive or the last few minutes, this Fife team has been there and done that already. So what's your thoughts on that? On this?
Well, I believe Fife definitely had the tougher road to get there, and I think it actually helped them. I think they're battle tested. They've been in these big game type scenarios. I know they went at the state last year and they came out on top over this same team. I don't know. I hate to say it, but that has to be in the back of the mind of Elba when they're playing. Like, I know these guys beat us last year. I hope they don't beat us again. That's got to be in their minds.
Yeah, and we talk about last year, and Austin Brown was a big part of the Fife team last year. But we talk about Dylan Kilpatrick. Man, this kid has stepped up all season, and I know last week he rushed for 189 yards and had a touchdown, and and this is not a small kid. I think he's probably 6'2" and about 200 pounds, and and he's not easy to get on the ground.
No,
so
and he can scoot too. This kid has some serious speed. If that kid gets to the corner, I believe it was Ramburn they were playing when they made that last minute drive. The reason they won that ball game is because he got to the corner and made it into the end zone.
Absolutely, and I tell you, again, this Fife team, the thing that really has impressed me this year with Fife is their defense. And again, I think people after they lost to Cleveland, people started saying, well, maybe this team's not quite as good as the team was last year. But I'm gonna tell you, I just, and I have not seen the stats that close or haven't looked at them that close. I have seen stats, but I think this Fife defense is better than the defense they had last year. And, I tell you what, like he said, the Jones kid, man, he is all over the field on defense, and I think they did have 6-7 sacks last week. And
he subs in on offense, too. He's such a great athlete, and he has such great size. They have to sub him in on offense, and he really helps them because it seems like the holes are just there when that kid goes in, and he makes the holes. And I'm sure that Kilpatrick appreciates that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And we talk a lot about Dylan Kilpatrick, and he touches the ball a lot. But man, this Fife team has some players, and we talked about the freshman Peyton Anderson, stepping up, and he's played good all season. And then you got Tyler Ashley who has played, and the Jones kid on defense, and
one kid I think we can't leave out has to be Benefield, the quarterback. I know.
Oh, absolutely,
Coach Benefield said he was sort of a game manager, if you will, but I don't think so, because to me he kind of added another aspect. I don't want to say Fife's offense has been a one-trick pony, but they've been in the past they've just lined up and they've run it up the middle and they've been successful. Well, now they have Benefield back there and they're running the quarterback draw and he's getting yards off of it, and they can throw it if it comes down to it.
Yeah.
But just being able to have a quarterback draw and a quarterback be able to pull the handoff and making that right side of the defense stay at home, I think that's really helped their offense as well.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what, this is going to be a huge ball game this week, and I know everybody in Fife, is excited about this ball game. And I was sitting here thinking, we talked about this last year, if you're in the business of robbing or wanted to rob a bank or do something like that, there's nobody going to be in Fife on Friday afternoon.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, that town is going to be empty. So,
town.
I'm not trying to give anybody any ideas or anything like that, but, everybody in Fife is going to be in Tuscaloosa, and a lot of other, DeKalb County is probably going to be down there. But, man, this is going to be a great football game, and, of course, we've kind of picked all year who we think is going to win. So, what's your thoughts? I mean, what's your gut feel on this game as Fife and Elba meet up again for a rematch?
Well, I know I picked Red Bay over Fife. Red Bay was a very great team, and Fife surprised me. Fife came out on top. They played a great game. And I picked Fife against Ramburn, and to me, I don't think Fife, their defense had a little trouble with the spread offense and throwing the ball deep, but they came out on top, and that's what matters. And then this week against Randolph County, they played amazing. They seemed like everybody was on the same page there. They wrapped up. They sacked that quarterback I don't know how many times, and that's why their offense wasn't successful at all. So I'm going with Fife in this game. I feel like they've been tested against the spread, and they know how to defend it now.
Yeah. Well, I struggle all the time on these games, and this is a rematch of last year, and Elba's got a great quarterback. But I tell you, Coach Benefield, he just seems to get these teams ready at the right time, and I tell you, like you said last week, defensive-wise, Fife played an outstanding football game and offensive-wise, and so, I just feel good about Fife. I think they're going to win this ball game again. I just feel great about them, and of course, Coach Benefield told us there at the beginning. He said, "Well, he didn't realize that we was talking about we felt like that at the beginning of the season. We thought they'd be back there." And he said, "Well, y'all may be the only ones that thought that." So, but I tell you what, this Fife team has played well, and and again, like you said, Seth Benefield stepped in at quarterback and has done an outstanding job. And I think, with the teams, like you said, the Red Bay game, man, what a tough ball game that was. And then Ramburn, what a tough game. And then last week, so they know how to win in a tough situation. And, this is not going to be an easy game with Elba, and it's going to be tough again. But I think because of the games that Fife have been in and the way they've had to win those ball games, that's going to play huge if this game comes down to the last couple of minutes of the football game. Because, Coach Benefield has got them believing, look, with 2 minutes left in this game, this ball game's not over.
Yes.
If we're down 3 points, 6 points, hey, we're gonna drive it down the football field and we're gonna win this football game. So I'm going with Fife this week. I think they're gonna pull or I don't know if it's an upset, or I think they're gonna bring back the trophy again, and so it's gonna be a great ball game, and I'm excited, and I know everybody in Fife's excited. So
Benefield can't wait to get another ring.
Absolutely, and I know he's just to be able to get back to this point. I know he's proud of those kids, and I know everybody in Fife is proud of them, and I think everybody in DeKalb County. He said, I don't know about everybody, but I dare say most of the people in DeKalb County are pulling for the Fife Red Devils on Friday. So, this is actually going to be our last show. Football season is officially over, high school football, and this will be our last show. And so for high school football this year. And guys, we appreciate you so much for tuning in each week and putting up with us. Like I said at the beginning of the year, we're not ESPN, and we probably don't do everything that's perfect like they maybe do on ESPN. But man, we've had a great time, and we sure look forward to having you guys back with us next year. And hopefully, it'll be bigger and better next year. So God bless each one of you, and we'll see you again next year. And go the Red Devils.